everybody, and welcome back to Kayla Reads. My name is Kayla, and today I'm going to be giving you guys some book recommendations. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to break down my recommendations into different categories, kind of based on what kind of reader you might be, so that I can get the best recommendations to everyone. The first person who I'm going to be doing recommendations for is going to be the person who wants to get into reading but who previously hasn't really been able to find the right book or the right story that gets them interested. And the first recommendation that I have for these people is going to seem like a really obvious one, and that is Harry Potter. Harry Potter is really a great recommendation for anybody, but chances are, if you are a reader, you've already read all of the Harry Potter books. But if you haven't, don't worry, it's not too late. Now is kind of the perfect time to get into reading these books because they just released the new illustrated edition of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, which is beautiful, and it offers a really unique reading experience, which I think is something that a person who isn't traditionally into reading books might really enjoy. Look at how pretty the illustrations are. So pretty. I'm not going to go through and tell you what Harry Potter is about because I'm sure that you already know, and if you don't, I don't know where you've been hiding for the last 20 years, but you should definitely know what Harry Potter is about. The next book that I'm going to recommend for the non-reader is going to be Illuminae by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This book is actually the only book that I'm recommending today that I haven't already read, but it is a really, really interesting format of story, and I've heard nothing but good things about this. But the biggest reason that I think that the people who don't traditionally like books might enjoy this book is because it isn't written traditionally. It's actually, the story is told through different medias. There are like government documents, there are emails, there are medical files, all kinds of different ways in this book that you're getting your information, but it would offer a really, really unique reading experience, and I do think that a lot of people would enjoy this one. For those of you who don't know, this book is set far off in the future, and it is about two big companies that are fighting over a little icy planet, but the planet is inhabited by people, and they are pretty much like being rained down upon by enemy fire. The book, from what I understand, follows the main character, whose name is Katie, and her escape of this horrible situation. It is the first in a trilogy, and it's a little bit of a lengthier book, but I really, really do think that a lot of people will enjoy this one. The last book that I'm going to be recommending today for the non-reader is going to be Paper Towns by John Green. I think that everybody should read every book by John Green, but I recommend this to people who usually don't like books all that much because it's a really short and easy read, and it's suspenseful and it's very good. This book was actually just made into a movie, which I'm sure you guys all know, but I would definitely suggest also checking this one out. It's a really, really quick read, it's very short, and I really enjoyed this one. It is about a boy named Quentin and his neighbor, Margot Roth Spiegelman. It pretty much, at the beginning of the book, you are with Quentin and Margot as they go on this whole night-long adventure around town doing all kinds of crazy different things, and then the next morning Margot is missing, and this book is following Quentin as he tries to find her. It's really good. Really, really good. You should get it. The next group of people that I'm going to be doing my recommendations for is for the person who used to be really into reading but just kind of fell off the bandwagon and hasn't been able to find any stories or books recently that have really caught their interest and got them into reading. The first series that I'm going to recommend for you guys is City of Bones, the Mortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare, the first of which is City of Bones, and then City of Ashes, and then City of Glass. And then there are 3 additional books, but I'm only going to hold up these 3 for you right now. These books are really, really incredible, as are anything by Cassandra Clare, but these follow a group of shadow hunters, specially trained people with special powers who protect the world from demons. There are so many twists and turns, and it really, really will remind you why you love reading. I highly suggest picking up this series. While on the topic of Cassandra Clare, I'm also going to suggest that you guys go check out the Infernal Devices trilogy, the first of which is Clockwork Angel, which I just read and I completely loved. I have a book review and discussion up on it, which I can leave the link to that in the doobly-doo. But I really, really enjoyed this book. I'm currently reading the second book in the series, which is Clockwork Prince. And up next, obviously, is going to be a Clockwork Princess. Like I said, these books are really, really incredible. They are set in the same world as the Mortal Instruments series, but they are set in like the late 1800s, and it offers a really, really unique and interesting read. I can't even explain these books to the point that you'll understand how good they are. They're like almost Harry Potter good, almost. But yeah, you guys definitely have to go check these ones out. And finally, if you are someone who is trying to get back into the swing of reading, I would definitely suggest that you pick up Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. This is the first book in a trilogy. The second book is Hollow City, and the third book is Library of Souls. These are really, really interesting and unique, and they follow a boy named Jacob and his adventures of trying to figure out the truth behind the crazy stories that his grandfather used to tell him. They're beautifully written, and I have actually suggested these to a few people who have asked me for suggestions lately, and I've heard nothing but good things from them. I really haven't heard a whole lot of bad anything about these books from anyone. It's really a book that anybody could get into, and you should check it out. People love these books. If you're someone who loves reading, but you just don't really have the time to commit to a long book or a series right now, I am going to firstly suggest that you pick up We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. This book was incredibly quick to get through. It really only takes a couple hours after you actually sit down and start reading it. It's a very short book. I think it's only, it's just over 200 pages. And it's very, very easy to get into, and it doesn't feel like you're only reading 200 pages. This book does a really incredible job with all of its details and descriptions, and you get so invested in the story in such a short amount of time, and it's a really, really great book. It is about a girl named Cadence and her family, who her grandfather owns a private island where her mom and all of her aunts own homes on this island, and her 2 cousins and one of her cousins' friends spend the summers here with their families. And 2 summers before this book takes place, there was this giant tragedy, a big accident that happened, and it resulted in Cadence not being able to remember what happened. And this book kind of goes along with her as she tries to figure out everything with the help of her cousins and their friend. It's really interesting, honestly, and after having read it, the storyline still really stands out in my mind. I've read this probably like a year ago, and it's just really, really great. So you should definitely pick this one up. The next book that I'm going to suggest you pick up is going to be The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. Partly just because I really, really love John Green, and partly because I think that anyone who enjoys reading should really pick this book up and give it a chance. It's so popular, and that's for a reason. You know, it's a really, really incredible read. It's about a girl named Hazel Grace and her she was diagnosed with terminal cancer, and her parents make her go to this support group to try and help her with like her depression and coping with her diagnosis. And she meets a boy there, and his name is Augustus, and he is in remission. He also had cancer, but he's all better now, and it's such a beautiful story, and everybody needs to read this book. So go read this book. The last group of people I'm going to be giving some suggestions to are the people who love books and spend a ton of time reading and just really, really enjoy it. The first is actually a trilogy, and that is Legend by Marie Lu. This is the first book of the trilogy. Prodigy is the second book of the trilogy, and Champion is the third and final book. These books were really, really, really incredible, and I love the world that they're set in. I actually just ordered the graphic novel version of this first book, which I'm really, really excited to get and read, but you get so immersed in this world. Marie Lu did such a beautiful job of creating this world, and I really, really love it, and I highly suggest this book. It is about a girl named June who is an elite in this dystopian world, and a boy named Day who is a criminal, and he's on the run. And in this world, there's this horrible plague that is ravishing the city that they live in, and it's just really, really interesting. June and Day meet under some crazy circumstances, and you kind of learn about both of them throughout the book quite a bit, and I really, really, really loved it, so you should definitely pick these ones up. You should also definitely pick up The Silver Linings Playbook by Matthew Quick. This book was just recently made into a movie. I think it was a couple years ago. And it is really, really incredible. Even if you've watched the movie, you should still read the book because the movie leaves a lot to be desired from the book. There are a lot of scenes and different things in the book that you didn't see in the movie that really, really add to the story. I loved the movie, and I read the book afterwards, and I still really, really enjoyed the book. If you don't know the storyline, it is about a man who catches his wife cheating on him and almost beats the other man to death. And he ends up in a mental hospital because of this situation. And the story kind of picks up as he's getting out of the mental hospital, and it goes through his recovery. He meets a girl who has also gone through a pretty big tragedy, and it's really good. It's really, really good. It's very, very unique, and you should pick this one up. And finally, the last recommendation that I'm going to be giving today is going to be, surprise, surprise, more John Green. Looking for Alaska is John Green's first novel, and it just actually met its 10-year anniversary. This is the 10th anniversary edition. It's really, really nice, and it's pretty. I love it. I actually think that I'm going to pick this book back up soon and read it again. It's really, really incredible. It is about a boy who ends up going to boarding school, and he meets Alaska at boarding school, and it kind of goes through their friendship and the non-spoilers that I'm not going to give you. I really don't want to say too much about this book because you really should just go out and read it. It's really incredible. Seriously, you guys, just read everything by John Green because it's all good. Yeah, so I'm not going to say any more about this book, but that is all that I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to subscribe if you haven't already and you enjoy my videos. I'm going to be uploading them somewhat regularly. If you have any comments, make sure to leave them in the comments down there. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!